or good whatever time it is whenever you're watching this, wherever you are. Today is really kind of interesting. And I'll tell you about that in just a minute. There's a guy named Cam Higgins who exposed a whole bunch of anti-ICE, sort of leftist or anti-ICE organizations, and they found this video. And this video is a training on how to resist ICE, resist the enforcement in Minneapolis that's going on right now. And so I'm going to give a few minutes for some people to come in. I'm going to start at 3 minutes, 30 seconds. And I'm going to, in the meantime, we're going to let some more people come in, and I'm going to try to get the screen share working. Because if I can do that, I can show you some of the things that were going on with this video. So let me see if I can do this. Start screen share. I think I want to do this one. Let's see if this works. All right. Can y'all see me? I don't know if you can see me or not. Yes, yes you can. All right. Good. So I'm going to go through a little bit of this video. It's an hour and a half long. I didn't watch the whole thing because so much of it was just eye-rolling stuff that people who already agree. It's just stating again and again ideological purity terms. And I'll show you what, I'll explain that a little more too. But so much of it is just, oh, we need to maintain our humanity. Right? What does that even mean? we need to stand up for, like, what does it even mean? And, buzzwords like marginalized groups. And they're doing a bunch of good, I shouldn't say good, but they're doing a bunch of effective persuasion. And I'm going to talk about some of that here. Again, I'm not going to go into too much of depth. I like to keep these short. I can dig into this maybe a little more deeply if this is something that you guys are really interested in. But at the end of the day, this is something that I think we can expect to find at the higher levels of this, at the political world. I think there's definitely some people. I know for a fact that AOC and her group has a trainer named Zach Exley. And that dude is really, really good. And I think that's how he trained Cortez and Ilhan Omar and that insane one, Rashida, whatever her name is. So we can expect this. So I think we may want to increase our own skills here too. So let me begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Daily Upgrade with Jason Andrews. I'll turn this off for a second. My name is Jason Andrews, and I am a hypnotist, which is pretty cool because that means I can change things on the inside. And I think you're here because you like it when things change for the better. And that's what I'm here for, too. And today I want to talk about the hypnosis brigade on the left, specifically a group of people who are training anti-ICE activists. And while I talk about this, I'm going to be rewiring your mind in real time. And if you're watching this, you probably had lots of things going on already. So the first thing we're going to do is take a deep breath, hold it for just a moment or two, and then just let it all go. Are you ready? Good. And now, since your brain has also probably been in a lot of different places today, we're just going to bring all of that in so you can focus in. Now, as I said before, there was they found this training video for anti-ICE agents. and it was exposed by, I believe the guy's name was Cam Higgins, and they went in, they infiltrated some signals, a messaging app that's encrypted. It's supposed to be secure. Well, they got in anyway, and he downloaded all the content and downloaded all the usernames and the chats and all this stuff, and then shared it with some people. And then another person apparently mapped out likely identities for a lot of these people, and they have been trying to tie it to the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, and her last name is Flanagan, because they're referred to somebody named Flan. And to me that's pretty clear, but it's not a smoking gun, but it's pretty clear. Well, anyway, they've been processing all this information, and what we've discovered is that it's a highly organized and well-trained group of people running the show, trying to resist the ice. If that's not grounds for a RICO investigation or the Insurrection Act, I'm not sure what is, because it's pretty clear. It is pretty clear. So what I'm going to do today is they found this training video, and I'm going to go over a few parts of it. Okay, I'm going to expose a little bit of what they're doing, right? I'm going to explain it. Now, am I going to explain everything they're doing? Not even close. Not even close. I'm just going to give you an idea. Okay. You guys ready to begin? All right. Let me make sure that this is working. Okay, it is working. Good. All right, so I'm going to do presentation. There we go. Now, because it's so cold where I am, and where my office is also very cold, and my monitor, my second monitor isn't working, so I'm going to have to flip back and forth between the tabs a little bit. So hopefully that won't affect you guys much. I think you won't see that, but remember, I've only been doing this for a week or two, so give me a little bit of slack on getting this all working. All right, so let's see. Let me just set all this up here one more time. Get everything working. All right, can you guys see that? Oh, it's all screwed up. Give me one more moment. There we go. That's better. All right. Now, the first thing I want you guys to notice is that the question there. You see the question there? Why are our neighbors being targeted so aggressively? All right, now, this is the first the first indication. Okay. First of all, that one question is so loaded with persuasion. It's just so loaded with persuasion. Number one, it presupposes that the neighbors are being targeted so aggressively. It doesn't say, are people being targeted aggressively? No. Why are our neighbors being targeted so aggressively? It presupposes that people are being targeted aggressively. And that's, if you're not paying attention, you'll go like, oh yeah, let me know why. Right? I laugh because, but a lot of people don't have the time or the cognitive CPU cycles, resources to go in and parse that question and figure out the presupposition. But when you do that, you see it immediately. Wait a minute. They're assuming facts that are not necessarily in evidence, right? So that's number one. Number two, neighbors. Neighbors. What a strong word. Neighbors assumes that the person who is being targeted is someone who lives next door to you. That number one brings it close to home. And number two, your neighbor is part of your community because they're where you live. So these people whom you've never met before, you've never had any interaction before, suddenly they're your neighbors? Naturally, people want to help their neighbors. They don't necessarily want to help some random person with a criminal record they've never seen before. Okay? Which, apparently, a lot of these people that ICE is deporting, at least at this stage, had pretty nasty criminal records. A lot of them have to do with abuse of minors and things along that nature. But suddenly, no, those people are minors. I'm sorry, those people are neighbors. No, they're not. They're somebody's neighbors, but the people who are reading this, they're not those people's neighbors. It's very unlikely. So that's number two. And then number three, targeted so aggressively. Okay, now that implies that it's too much, right? That's huge. That implies that the amount of aggression is too much. It's not the appropriate amount of aggression. It's not too little aggression. It's too much aggression. And that's the other presupposition. So with this one question, number four, the fact that it's a question. It's not, our neighbors are being targeted so aggressively, which would be quite persuasive, but why are our neighbors being targeted so aggressively? And then the mind, if you ask the mind a question, it will come up with an answer. It will search for an answer. That's a powerful feature of the subconscious mind. It wants to find answers to any questions you give it. So if you ask stupid questions, you're going to get stupid answers. If you ask problematic questions to yourself, you're going to get bad answers. Okay, so this is just one example. Whoever is writing this is quite skilled. But see, the thing is, now that I've made you aware of these techniques, now you can go in and pick it apart. You can identify those four things. The presupposition, the word neighbors, the so aggressively, and the fact that it's a question. You can go inside and use that information to just dismiss this entirely. You pick it apart and what's left? What's left? Somebody's doing something and targeting somebody, but why? And is it okay? You don't know, right? Completely changes the experience. And so your experience when you read this question now is a little bit like, yeah, what are you hiding from me by saying it that way? Isn't it? Don't you feel that way now towards this anti-ICE training? Right? Because when you pick it apart, you gain more ability to evaluate for yourself what's happening. Right? Now, I'm going to point out a couple more things, but I don't want to make this one too long. So I'm only going to do, make sure that I find the right. Yeah, okay. I'm going to play this guy's speech for just a moment here and point out a couple things. Let me get the right.
Community care that does not break when adrenaline hits. Because here's what I believe, and I need you to borrow it if you are running low tonight.
Wow. All right. He didn't, just in that sentence, he says, here's this feeling or idea. I need you to borrow it, right? Now that's being generous, so you trust the person more because he's giving you something, right? The reciprocity principle. I give you something, you're going to want to give me something back in return, right? That's just human nature. So there's a trust building aspect there, and then borrow means also that yes, you can have this. He's not telling somebody, hey, you need to be courageous out there. He's saying you can borrow some of my courage. Really, really smoothly, really well done.
The most dangerous thing about intimidation is not only what it does to the person being targeted, it's what it tries to do to everyone watching.
All right, now he just turned that into something where, hey, it's not about you. It's not about you, anti-ICE, woke person. It's about the whole world is watching. Now, I'm going to do some stereotyping here. The left tends to be obsessed with attention and consensus over um, effectiveness, reality, and rationality, and what is actually true. Okay. So I think a lot of these people. I mean, I've seen some posts on Twitter saying, "Yeah, these guys are just LARPing." Right? LARP means live action role play. It's like when people get together and do this. They dress up in swords and sorcery type costumes, and they do a like live action kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. And so LARPing means you're not really the hero. Somebody who's LARPing is, oh, you think you're the hero, but you're really not. You're just pretending. Um, so I think, now where's I going with that? I think there's a lot of sense that many on the far left really do have a distorted sense of reality. They really do feel like they're the main character in this heroic narrative arc, right? So I think he's appealing to that.
It tries to train you to look away, to mind your own business, to whisper instead of speak.
All right, now here's another thing he does. He said three things that mean the same thing, right? Look the other way, mind your own business, whisper instead of speak. Now he does this a ton. Three, one, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, three, three of a kind. That's persuasive because once is just a random thing. Twice is a coincidence, but three is a pattern. Now, this guy, I counted at least 8 times where he said a triple. Three things that basically mean the same thing. 8 times. And I only watched like this section here about 10 minutes, and it's just everywhere. He's loading everything up with it.
To accept what they never should have accepted. But you are not going to look away. If you can hear my voice right now, you are part of the public. And the
If you can hear my voice right now, you are part of this. He's deputizing people into an identity. If you can hear this, yes, I can hear that, then you are part of the public. Well, technically, yes, that's, with a strict definition, that's sort of irrefutably true. Okay? It's a truism that is technically, logically irrefutable according to certain definitions, but according to more colloquial definitions, it implies things that are not true. Right? Did you catch that? Did you catch that? The is everyone part of the public? Unless you're holding elected office, you're part of the public technically. But what is he referring to when he means the word public? The public that is anti-ICE, his public. So your brain goes, "Oh yeah, I'm part of the public," and then another part of your brain goes, "Okay, I know what he's saying, so I'm part of that." Sneaky. By the way, we're not part of that, are we? I think you know what parts you are part of and what ones you're not part of. I think you can tell the difference and figure out where you are.
public is not a decoration in a democracy. The public is the authority. So let this be the moment you decide.
Okay, you are the public, and the public is the authority. Not the law enforcement is the authority, which is the real, in the practical sense, that's the real, um, that's the real answer there. That the law enforcement is the authority by definition. Law enforcement is the authority of the state. The state gives the law enforcement in the authority to apply force. That is literally what law enforcement is. Now, he just said to all these people, you're the public, and the public has the authority. So he's saying that the people listening have the authority to, like, they're the ones who have more authority than the law enforcement. You get how this works? Do you see it? Do you hear it? I mean, it's just, can you picture somebody who's already angry and upset and possibly not, that probably does not have a stable family situation and might have some mental illness, watching this and just becoming absolutely sucked in and radicalized, because it gives their life some purpose. It gives a direction for their mental illness energy. It gives them somebody to fight. I mean, you can picture that, right? You can see that happening, right? That's what these people are doing. That is what they are doing. So make no mistake about it. Now, I watched, what was this, 1 minute? 1 minute of this? And those are all the techniques that I've seen in 1 minute? Okay. And there's a lot, there's some, longer, like longer time stuff he's doing that applies over time. It's not just little tactical words here and there. There's structural things that I'm not going to get into, and there's some other more how would I say it, stronger things that I'm also not going to display to the public, display out to the whole internet, because there's too much a risk of somebody with a bad intention to do things wrong with it, or somebody without a bad intention with a good intention, but just not enough skill to make it work. So I'm definitely not even showing you all the stuff that's going on here. But what we need to understand is, like, this is what's going on. And look, if you look at his eyes here, he looks in that same place the entire time. He's reading a script. Okay, I don't know if he wrote the script or not, but I don't think he did. I think somebody else wrote it for him. And I say that because his delivery of some of these is off. He screwed up a bunch of, not in this section that we looked at, but he screwed up the delivery of some of these words and lines that if he had done it correctly, it would have amplified the effect. Okay, and I'm saying that as somebody with my level of expertise, and so I guess at this stage, just trust me on that, because this is my job, my career. But he's doing so much, and there's going to be more of this. So how can you protect yourself from this? Well, one of the best ways to do it, and again, this is difficult, this is cognitively demanding, is to ask, okay, well, who is he really referring to? Right? When we looked at the that question, why are neighbors being targeted? Okay, which neighbors? Targeted by whom? Right? They didn't say who is doing the targeting. Okay, now that's called a lost performative in hypnosis language. Who is doing that? They don't say. Okay, now based on context, you can infer, okay, well, it's ICE. But does that mean, there's what, 100,000, 50,000 ICE agents at this stage, this point? I don't even know how many. Is it all of them? All 50,000? Right? Is it one? You don't know. You don't know who it is. And that ambiguity causes problems. So identifying where the imprecision is goes a long way. It goes a long way. Identifying the presuppositions there. Right? Is this true, or is it just somebody is like a salesman trying to get me to imagine myself driving the car? What are you going to do after you've bought your car? Where are you going to drive first after you've bought this car for me? When you're in a car salesman place, you can catch that stuff, and I think you can catch it here too. That's another way to do it. So you want to find out what the information is missing, and that because in order to understand it, if they're not supplying that information, you have to supply it. And if you supply it, it's going to be ambiguous. You could supply it with something, another person could supply it with something else. Because there has to be something there for you to understand it. Right? That can't be missing information. So when they don't supply it, you supply it. Every time that happens, there's going to be room for persuasion effects to take effect. So I'm going to leave it at there for now because we're at the 30-minute mark, and I try to keep these short. I wanted to make you aware of all this stuff. There are people out there organizing to radicalize the left, and so don't think for a second that this is some grassroots, the people are rising up. No, it's extremely well coordinated, extremely well coached. Okay, and it's manufactured. It's manufactured. And as I said, they found somebody in the chats named Flan, and the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, her last name is Flanagan. That's pretty convincing to me that the government of Minnesota is also involved in this. Now, I can't be 100% sure. There may be some guy out there whose name is Flan, or another person, last name of Flanagan. But to me, it seems extremely likely. I mean, 90% plus that it is that involved with the government there in the state government in Minnesota. So be aware of that, and don't let anybody tell you that it's like the people. It's not. It's the radicalized disaffected people who get sucked into this type of programming and persuasion. Now, the good news is there are some of us on the other side. Now, I'm gonna make myself sad here. Scott Adams was really good at exposing this stuff and spreading it wide and letting people understand what was happening. And I have nowhere near, his reach, but he and I did have similar skill sets, and I'm trying to do some things that are going to maybe even the playing field on some of this stuff. I mean, the state government of Minnesota is likely involved in radicalizing disaffected leftists against law enforcement. I mean, I can't come to any other conclusion than that about this, and that bothers me. So, but part of my mission here now is to empower you to understand this stuff, to defend yourself against it, but also to improve the way you think, to improve your mental processes, to improve your persuasive ability, right? Because when you do that and you keep building those skills, then the playing field starts to even out, and more people recognize this leftist stuff as what it is. And I think that's valuable. And everybody's allowed to have their own political opinions. I have I don't have any issue with that. But I don't like the type of what I see as almost exploitation by this guy on the video there. And what I like to do is free people from that kind of exploitation. I mean, do you know how many of my clients come to me and they're like, I have this problem that I can't solve? And I'm like, okay, why not? And it's usually because of something in their head that does not correlate accurately with reality. And that's what that guy's doing. He's trying to give people those those limits. He's trying to give people limits. That drives me bonkers. I'm here to remove people's constraints, right? And so that's what I'm here to do. Well, I appreciate you all for being here with me today. If you enjoyed this or found it helpful, feel free to share it with others and or check out my coaching site, jasonandrews.coach. You can find more paths to improving your life and results. If there's enough interest, I may do more of this video. I may parse through more of it. So let me know your feedback because I don't have a whole lot of feedback live here. If you can get on Rumble or YouTube or Locals, I think it's correctly set up that you can chat live and I'll be able to see it, so that would help too. Yeah, so I hope you can join me again. I hope you like this, and yeah, have a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.